have a limiting belief in your life, you are limited just like a car. Did you know on things like cars and golf carts, they put limiters in the car? Not every single car has this, but pretty much every golf cart has this, where they put it in there to limit how fast you can actually go. Now, usually for safety concerns and to make sure you're alive, you're not going 90 miles an hour in a golf cart, but a lot of us human beings have these limiters, especially when it comes to wholesaling real estate. We have this limiter saying we can't do a deal. We have this roadblock or this thing stopping us from actually getting a deal. I personally believe every single wholesaler has these limiting beliefs starting out. And the key to getting success and actually start getting deals is by removing these limiting beliefs one by one. Most people have up to 5 limiting beliefs of why they can't get a wholesaling deal. Once they remove those, they start doing better. Now, looking at my wholesaling business, when it came to me making 100 wholesaling deals a month, that's currently where I'm at in my operations, I had to remove 5 limiting beliefs to get to that point. Because I was at a point for a very long time, I was stuck doing 5 deals a month, then 6 deals a month, then 7, then ultimately a plateau of 10 deals per month. And once I was able to remove the 4th limiting belief, my wholesaling business started skyrocketing. So what I want to do today is share with you the 5 limiting beliefs that were stopping me from having success and the 5 that stopped most beginner wholesalers from getting their first deal. Now, my first limiting belief I had was how much I could make on a wholesaling deal, like how much I could physically actually make. Then I believed there was a limit on how many deals somebody can do a month. And then after that, I believed no one would actually accept my offer virtually. I had to only wholesale real estate in person. And then, I got rid of that belief, but I didn't think there was anybody in the world as good as me at closing sellers besides Rick. And I was stuck being an acquisitions agent the rest of my life. That actually limited me from doing more deals. And then ultimately, I had this fear of failure stopping me from getting to the point of where I needed to be and where I deserved in my business. So let's break down these 5 limiting beliefs and exactly the 5 stopping you right now from achieving success. So these 5 limiting beliefs really were stopping me from getting success in wholesaling real estate. And let's really break down what these limiting beliefs were in my business and how I overcame them so you could do the same exact thing. So overall, these were my limiters. The limiters stopping me. Now, overall, there were 5 things stopping me from getting to 100 deals a month. And kind of looking back, they're pretty stupid. But the first limiting factor I had on my journey was how much I could really make on a wholesaling deal. So I told myself I had a limiting belief on how much I could make on a deal. And this was something I really believed. You're not gonna make over $60,000 on a wholesaling deal because you don't want to lowball the seller too much, or you're, quote, taking too much out of the deal from the buyer and or the seller. Once I was able to snap that out, I had my second limiting belief, which was how many wholesaling deals I was capable of doing in my own business. When you go from doing 5 deals to 10 deals and you just can't get above 10 deals a month, you believe that's the most I'm destined for, that's the most I can make in this business, when overall there are hundreds of thousands of wholesaling deals being done across the country every single month and probably millions. So the point is, why am I stuck at only 10 a month? If I add another person, I should be able to double it theoretically. And yes, there are some marketing factors with your real estate market and your marketing, but really 10's not the number. Number 3, I had a limiting belief on where I could do wholesaling deals. South Carolina, I'm in Florida. That's an attorney state. There's no way I can do a deal there. It's way too complicated. I need to physically see the house to wholesale it. The cash buyer has to physically see me for them to sign the assignment. The seller has to see me face to face. They would never sign a contract over the computer. These are beliefs that I personally had. And once I was able to destroy them, I leveled up in my wholesaling business. The next limiting belief, and probably the hardest one for me, but this was to trust others to close for me. And for a lot of you, you might not be in this part of your wholesaling business, but I can tell you, once you scale up, and if you want to be at the point where I'm at, you're going to have this issue. Guys, me closing deals, me talking to sellers, me getting the deal closed, right? Me being able to convert my leads from my hard-earned and expensive marketing over to a signed contract was my personal responsibility. Really, the only other person I trusted was Rick to do this. And the thing was, I was just gonna hand this to somebody who I knew for a fact, and this is just the truth, that is worse than me at closing sellers. Am I gonna give my livelihood, everything I've built all the way up to this point, to a random person I just hired and I'm training right now to go close sellers and leads for me? And the thing is, I was looking at that problem completely wrong. And once I was able to bring that belief out of there, I was able to close some more. We're going to talk about that right now too. And the last one again is the fear of failure. Now this is kind of the funniest one, but this is the most common one everyone has. And I'm going to talk about exactly why this is probably the dumbest one I've ever seen and how it's not even a limiting belief, but we're going to talk about that right here. So the first limiting belief, how much I could make on a wholesaling deal. Let's cross that one off right now. How was I able to get rid of that? Well, I just told myself one day, I'm going to give the most insulting low-ball offers possible. And really out of necessity, I wanted to start making more money. So call me a greedy person or something. But I decided to myself that I was going to personally go for the no. Which means if I was offering $50,000 below the MAO, I'm going to start offering $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 below the MAO. And guess what happened? Two things happened. I had an extreme sharp increase in rejections of my first offer. I don't think that one is a shocker for anybody. People rejected my offers a lot more. But again, catch-22, I was able to kind of retract that and go back, renegotiate, and still get it locked up for the same price as if I originally did it. Remember, a lot of sellers, they already have a MAO in their mind. Not a max allowable offer, but a least allowable offer. An LAO for them personally, for the seller. The least that they are willing to take. And usually, you can't convince a seller based off comps and facts that it should be lower. That rarely happens in my case, in my experience. So if I was destined to make 40 grand in the deal, even if I offered 300 grand below the MAO, they're still going to be stuck on that one price. And usually, because they need that certain money for a certain reason, and no matter how much I lowball, it doesn't happen. For the other thing, I found another case where I had a sharp increase in profit per deal. Now, do you see here that the amount of deals I did actually stayed the same? It was actually the same. I didn't do less deals or more deals, but my first offers I gave to sellers, I got a lot more rejection and a lot more blowback, not gonna lie. But I also made way more per deal. In most cases, up to 20% more per deal. Now, 20% doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're making millions of dollars, to add an extra 20% on that is a complete game changer. And the best part about this is my first month I started really going hard on the go for no, I did my first $100,000 wholesale deal. That year I made 5 $100,000 wholesaling deals. Completely changed my life, and this was pretty recent. This was in 2021. So in 2021 is really when I saw the first growth in my wholesaling operations, like really big and large, because I started making lower offers. This completely changed my mindset on a lot of things. Now, number 2, how many deals I could do. I thought my market was just so finicky about how many wholesaling deals I could do. Well, I got rid of that belief pretty quick, and some of these are out of order, by the way, but they're organized in a certain fashion. So I thought I could do 1 deal a month, and that turned to 2 and 3, but really the big limiting factor was around 10 deals per month. I thought because I lived in my little rinky-dink market, I couldn't do anything more. And what I just did was, it was pretty crazy, is I just added extra channels. So I found something out really interesting in wholesaling when you call it a deal right here, and I was attacking from just one channel, right? Channel 1, I was attacking it like crazy, and channel 2, I was attacking it like crazy. And I basically maxed out the amount of marketing and deals I can get from said channel per month on a specific market. But when I made a third extra channel, which was SMS text blasting back in the good old days, I ended up getting 25% extra deals. You add probate letters, digital bandit signs, you add more lists, you end up doing more deals. So I thought I couldn't physically do any more deals, but when you increase drawing for dollars, reverse drawing for dollars, brand new marketing channels that were never being done before, you can actually do more deals, because it's not the market that is limiting you, it's the amount of marketing channels and lists you are doing. So if you're struggling with this issue, probably you need to add more marketing channels in your business. So it's really important to add extra channels. That got rid of that limiting belief for me. Number 3, where I could do wholesaling deals. Now this is technically, I'd probably say the first limiting belief that kind of got me, because I was in college at the time, I was 19 years old, and I couldn't do any deals where I was at in college. And it was either, Zach, you become broke in college and you're not ever going to do a wholesaling deal while you're in college, or you're going to figure out a way. I figured out a way, and this way was virtual wholesaling. It was a really new term back in the day, and this was pretty simple. I didn't believe a seller would physically actually want to get a contract signed. And this was before COVID-19, when everything was all virtual and pretty much easy. This was pre-COVID. And the funniest thing was, I asked. And I also did another thing, and I what I call normalized. And what I mean by this is, I just told the seller the offer over the phone, and I still conditioned them. I still did my classic acquisition scripts, but I just asked for them to accept the offer over the phone, and they did it. Surprise! It was a limiting belief because they never did before. And the one thing I did get a little extra pushback, but that's virtual wholesaling for you. But I basically normalized the process. Hey Sally, yes, it would be better if I could physically meet you and go by your house probably in the next 5 minutes, but I live 6 hours away. But I basically said the way our company does this is we actually get the agreement signed first, and then we physically go to your property a week or two after at the time of convenience. That's just the way our company does it, and it's a lot more faster, quicker, and efficient. Now, we don't do any rough or crazy inspections. We already assume that the property, we just have to go and look at it and get a quote on some of the repairs on the property with our partner. And that's the way that our business operates. It's quicker, less invasive, and way easier. And we were pretty lucky because Zillow and all these iBuyers were going on during the time, so it's a little more commonplace, especially before COVID too. But if you just normalize the process and asked, could virtually wholesale anywhere. Shocker. Now, number 4 was really, really difficult, but this was to trust others to close deals for me. And this was a belief that was actually founded pretty easy. What I learned was 60% of the acquisitions trainers that I trained would fail. Yeah, I know that's crazy. Most of the acquisitions people were not cut to the standard of what I deem acceptable, which means if I put them on 5 appointments, their closing rates were way worse than what I was used to. Now, if I had on average a 70% closing rate, my acquisitions managers would probably be at a 60% closing rate if it is virtual over the phones, right? Now, probably 80, 70 if it's in person, but they're going to be on average 10, 15, 20% worse than you. You just got to accept the fact. Your cold callers are probably going to be 60 to 7% as good as you, and your acquisitions managers, if they are absolute dogs, are going to be 75, 80% as good as you at best. They're not going to exceed that. But the big secret that I found out was, yes, their closing rates were worse, but I was able to have 2 people go on an appointment. So 2 people, so acquisitions 1 and acquisitions 2 were able to go to 2 houses at the same given time, which means if it takes about 8 hours to go on 8 appointments, I could have 2 acquisitions managers go on 16 appointments in the day, and even at a worse closing rate, I was able to get more deals closed, which ended up me making more money. And especially if you're doing this virtually around the country, you end up making more money. So the numbers actually work. The fear of failure. Now, some of these fears are actually kind of normal with human brains, but like you're really got to think of the fear of failure of something normal, right? Like, what if the economy crashes? Well, that's outside my control. And if the economy does crash, I know what to do because I follow Flip Lurk on YouTube. But the thing is like, well, what if all this fails? What if my marketing fails? What if this changes? And the thing I remember is the whole marketing landscape of wholesaling completely has shifted ever since I started. And by the time Rick started wholesaling, the complete dynamic of wholesaling completely changed for him too. So yes, the entire wholesaling landscape has completely changed since I started, since Rick started, and shocking statement for you, in the next 5 years, wholesaling is going to completely change. The cool part is got me and Rick behind your back here on this channel, telling you exactly what the changes are and how you can adapt, and most importantly, do it absolutely for free without spending any money at all. So if you have a fear of change, change is going to happen, so it's like being fearful that it might rain one day. Like, it is going to rain. And you got to remember, everything else is pretty much normal. I had a lot more rejection. So if you have a fear of being rejected, it's going to happen. If you have a fear that you're going to do marketing channels that fail, guys, yeah, maybe for every extra marketing channel I find that works, I do 5 that fail. So you're going to fail at lists and channels and trying different things. The point is, you don't want those bets to completely kill you. So maybe you spend an extra $100, $200, $300 a month, maybe getting X leads, trying out the AI list, and if it doesn't work, your wholesaling operations don't blow up. It's just something to try out. That's why I say, like, if you want to try Facebook leads or PPC, go at it, go crazy. But don't bet the entire farm and your entire budget, and if it doesn't work, you're gonna quit. That's just pretty stupid. Let's talk about virtual wholesaling. Guys, out of the 10 markets that I do a lot of deals on, I pretty much failed and burned on about 30 extra markets from there. Markets I thought that were absolutely gonna crush it for me. But they just did not make the cut, and I couldn't get a good ROI. But all those failures led me to getting absolutely the 10 secret, awesome, best virtual wholesaling markets possible in this business that continue to get me richer and richer every single day. So that's kind of the secret here, right? Like, you are going to fail doing this. That's okay. And again, trusting other people. Guys, failure is actually part of the process when hiring acquisitions managers. There's no surprise here. You are going to fail training people. People are going to quit. People are going to demand equity and leave your company. It's just a part of the game. And the point here is to just persevere so you don't have to work 60, 70 hours a week in wholesaling anymore. You can just sit around all day and have your team do it. Now, you should be a little more efficient on this. Just remember here, failure was part of every single process of me leveling up as a wholesaler and making more money. So the fear of failure should never stop you. Now, let's talk about not me, but let's talk about you. You have a governor. You have a limiting belief. You have something stopping you from becoming successful in wholesaling. Let's talk about it. There are 5 limiting beliefs most beginner wholesalers have of why they are completely failing, why they are not going to get a deal this month, why they are not going to get a deal ever, and why they are just going to become a failure in wholesaling real estate. The point of this is to stop you from having these beliefs. So let's talk about this and how we can eliminate this right now. Number 1, the belief that I can't do a deal. What are you talking about? Do hundreds of thousands of wholesalers who have absolutely no money every single month start getting their first wholesaling deal and change their life? Yes. So do you think you're different than the average person? There are people dumber than you, younger than you, that working way harder than you in other jobs and situations that are having success. So you actually believing you can't do it is pretty stupid. You're born on this earth. If you can understand English by watching this, you have the comprehension skills to do this. If you're watching this on YouTube, which you are able to watch this over an internet connection, so you have at least Google Voice to get a deal done virtually. Like there's zero excuses why you can't do it. So let's cross that off. That's probably one of the dumbest reasons I could ever even fathom. You don't think you can do it? I mean, just go inside of wholesaling.com and ask, hey, anybody here do a deal? Wow, they're just like me. Duh. Number 2, I don't deserve a deal. So this is something actually a lot of people have this where they don't think they deserve this. And this actually happens when people get the deal. It's actually not before they get the deal usually, but this is something people have before the deal. But somebody who has just worked their entire life to make $40,000 a year will make $40,000 on one wholesaling deal off of drawing for dollars for 2 hours just on a random Sunday. And they think, I don't deserve this. I don't think this is real. They get it from a lawyer who signed it at a title company. They go put it in the checking account, right? They go to the bank to deposit it. They feel like something's illegal. They pop up their app and there's $40,000 in their bank. Until it hits your account, sometimes you don't even think this thing's even real, but it is real and it is insane. So thinking you don't deserve a deal, this is the mindset of you being a broke loser. You are not a broke loser. You do not believe yourself as a broke loser, right? You believe yourself you might be broke now. That might be a financial fact, but you being a broke loser who doesn't deserve success, come on, you deserve success. And you have the ability to do it. You just got to believe and have confidence you can do it. So come on, you know you deserve a deal. You're always destined for more in your life. Number 3, I don't know what to say. Oh, that's my favorite one. Let's just cross that one off right now. Guys, if you want the tips, scripts, my free real estate community, my free real estate wholesaling course where I have my scripts, live calls, I have downloads of what to say, what you need to say, all these things. It's literally all in freewholesaling.com. Seriously, freewholesaling.com. Costs no money. I'll show you exactly what you got to say. Number 4, I am not confident enough. That's probably a true statement, and it's a hard one to cross off. And the truth is, you probably are not actually confident enough to do a deal. You probably don't believe in yourself, or you don't sound like you're polished or you're good talking to a seller over the phone. Guess what? Same thing as literally everybody else that got started. Oh man, I'm not going to be good at throwing the football when I start being a quarterback. Yeah, if you're training to be a quarterback, you are not going to be really good starting out. If you go and you try to be a bodybuilder, you're going to not be really strong when you get started on your first day of the gym. That's just a fact. There shouldn't be a fear that you're going to be weak when you start working out. That's fine. Like, who cares? Now, the more legitimate reason is you're more fear of the judging from other people. And I'll be honest with you, like, you're not completely off. You might get sellers or other people that judge you. Well, let me tell you the honest truth. Who cares? We're going to be dead in 100 years anyway. Somebody's opinion of you really doesn't matter. It's about your life at the end of the day. When you're sitting at the deathbed, it's about what you did and not what other people think. You do not sit on a deathbed thinking, oh, I hope Johnny thinks I was really cool. No, you think about what do I did, what should I have done differently, and what do I regret, and what would I change if I'm satisfied with my life. You do not become satisfied at your deathbed by you sitting down here and thinking, what do other people think about me? So no, you do not have confidence, but guess what? That shouldn't be a fear. Yeah, not having confidence, sure, but the limiting belief is feeling like you can't do it or you are not confident. Gain the experience, start getting the reps, and this will go away really quick. And the last one, and probably the most debilitating one possible, what if? What if my parents think I can't do it? What if my mom says I'm stupid? What if my wife thinks I can't do it? What if someone says it's a scam? What if somebody judges me? What if the seller cusses me out? I've had people, what if the seller beats me up if I call them? First and foremost, like, a seller's not going to beat you up from driving for dollars or knocking on a door. And if you're really scared of that, just virtually wholesale. What if I get arrested for wholesaling? What if my wholesaling deal gets stolen? What if I can't find a cash buyer? What if a seller or a cash buyer sues me? What if I'm 17 and I can't get a contract signed? What if I'm outside the US? What if somebody says they can't sign a contract because I'm virtually wholesaling? Guys, this is ridiculous. Number one, if your parents don't believe in you, shut up and just get a deal done, show them the check, and then they'll start believing you. I promise you, once you get a check, your parents go from not believing you to believing you pretty quick. The problem is you just can't tell them, you actually have to do it. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Hey mom, I'm sorry, but I made $20,000 legally wholesaling houses. Number two, if a seller cusses you out, who cares? The amount of people that say mean things about me on the internet is way higher than any seller cussing at you. And most people curse at you and hate from you as a reflection of their own selves. So just understand, they don't know you that well, and if they say something mean, just say, my mom thinks I'm cool, because your mom knows you better than you. Your mom knows you better than the person cursing at you, and she thinks you're cool, so what are you going to do about it? Next part, the wholesaling is illegal. I'm going to get arrested for wholesaling. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's not been one case of somebody who's ever been arrested or who has actually been fined for doing an assignment of contract in the United States of America in the history of the United States. I'm going on a limb and making that claim. I've made that claim for 5-6 years now, but not one person has ever been fined or gotten in trouble for signing a contract without a real estate license in the United States of America, because it is legal to wholesale in all 50 states in the United States. And until someone proves me otherwise, that is a fact. There's no law outlawing the assignment of contract either. I don't know what some of these real estate influencers talk about, but I don't have any evidence showing the contrary. So I'm going to keep saying this. Now, I'm not a lawyer, seek legal advice, but not one person. Probably a reason. Next, what if my deal gets stolen? Guys, deals get stolen all the time. It's just a fact. Now, majority of them are not going to get stolen if you do the things we teach in freewholesaling.com, so stop worrying about it. What if you can get sued? You can get sued for anything, but if you do everything legally, you're going to be fine. And if you're 17, 16, you can have somebody in freewholesaling.com, the community, sign a contract with you and you're good to go. And if you're outside the United States or virtually wholesaling, we have an entire community of virtual wholesalers getting rich wholesaling real estate. So really, you're overthinking things. So these are the limiting beliefs. Guys, you have to cross it off and mentally say, I am done thinking like this. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to go out here and make the most of my life. If you believe that these things are not a limiting belief anymore, you've crossed them out of your life, write down your 5 limiting beliefs, cross them out, take them out, and start getting rich wholesaling real estate. I believe in you. The question is, do you believe in yourself? Because you can try to convince me that you can do well, but you have to convince yourself you can do well wholesaling. Guys, if you're ready to make a change, start getting rich wholesaling real estate, join my free community, my free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, and I'll see you soon. This is Zach signing out. Let's get rich wholesaling houses.